Hi again, and welcome to RACI.com and our presentation on implementing RACI within an organization. A precursor to this presentation is the What is RACI video clip, available from the YouTube link on the RACI.com homepage. Whether you are a business coach, accountant, change or HR manager, it can be difficult opening that initial discussion with a new client, whether the client is internal or external to your organization. When engaging a new client or organization, a great way to initiate that engagement is by the introduction of a simple tool which can highlight underlying issues within the organization within a few minutes. There are a number of tools we can use to accomplish this. The first of these tools is the RACI questionnaire. This is available on YouTube or in document form on our website. The RACI questionnaire is made up of 10 simple questions that only require a yes or no answer. If the answer is yes to any more than 3 of the questions, it will indicate that underlying problems do exist, and also that RACI will be a great tool you can implement for resolving these. Many of the tools available at RACI.com are able to be used to open those first and sometimes difficult discussions with an organization. Always start a RACI implementation from the top down. It's best to start the RACI process at the highest level of authority available. This can be the board of directors, the president, CEO, general manager, or a department manager. For this example, and to make this presentation as informative as possible, we will start with the board of directors so we can see how RACI flows down through the different levels of management. When we talk about RACI, we will use the RACI codes. RACI is an acronym standing for R, responsible, A, accountable, C, consulted, and I, informed. Commence your introduction with the RACI questionnaire, followed by the What is RACI video. These are available unbranded from the RACI website, or you can use the RACI branded version available on YouTube. You will find the RACI YouTube link at the bottom of the RACI.com homepage. I recommend first presenting to the executive team. You will see the nods of the head in recognition when they view the short video, and combining the video with the RACI questionnaire will get the teams talking. This is as much about acknowledgement as it is enlightenment. These tools will create thinking in relation to the operation of the organization and the inefficiencies within it. This alone is a powerful tool, as it is not often that an organization does an inward reflection in this way. The great thing about RACI is, it isn't just about finding problems, it's about being able to offer powerful yet simple solutions. The RACI questionnaire highlights problems associated with many growing organizations, and these questions, requiring a simple yes or no answer, will speak for themselves. Number 1. Work is frequently delayed or incomplete. Number 2. The teams have questions about who does what. Number 3. There are multiple decision points within a single process. Number 4. There is inadequate communication and/or coordination within the organization. Number 5. Accountabilities of individuals or departments is undefined and unclear. Number 6. There is insufficient delegation of authority. Number 7. We work in a reactive environment rather than a proactive one. Number 8. Decisions are not made in a timely fashion. Number 9. A blame culture exists. Number 10. Tasks are being performed and decisions are being made at the wrong levels. Especially for HR managers, RACI is also a great tool for defining the key responsibilities for employee job descriptions, along with the development of a clear and defined functional organizational chart. So sit back while I take you through implementing RACI within an organization. As you begin, you will want to know who are the A and the R, and who needs to be consulted and informed, the C and the I, for each task a board is required to carry out. Note, it will take a little while for the organization to pick up the RACI jargon, but when they do, you will no doubt start hearing conversations such as, "Who's the A and the R on that? Make sure I'm included as an I." Board tasks can vary, but we have a number of templates with general tasks to help you and your client get started. You will find these and additional templates on the RACI.com website. The board will include the chairman and directors, possibly the CEO, financial controller, and industry specialists who may be included for their expert advice from time to time, but may not have tasks within the board's RACI. The chairman, along with the directors, needs to run through and include their own assessment of tasks associated with the board, taking into account the tasks their particular board will need to carry out to satisfy regulatory requirements, including the needs of key stakeholders. This is a collaborative approach and a great way for the board to create their accountability register and to ensure all directors are aware of their obligations to the organization, while at the same time ensuring accountabilities are clearly understood. For the next example, we will look at the position held accountable for the day-to-day running of the business. There are a few applicable titles out there, depending on the size and geographic location of the organization. This can be a president, GM, or CEO. For this presentation, we'll refer to the role as GM. The first step is to map the key tasks and responsibilities for the GM role. Many of these can be found in the job description of the GM and will form a great starting point, along with our GM template, should you choose to use it. The next step in completing the GM RACI is to look at the long and short-term goals the board of directors have set for the organization as part of the strategic plan. You can now see why starting top-down is so important, because without having a vision, goals, and strategic plan in place, trying to create a clear understanding of the board's expectations of the GM will prove difficult. A very important part of any strategic plan is to ensure it is aligned with the vision that the board has presented to the shareholder. For example, within 3 years, we will have an office in every state and be making a profit of $30 million a year. This is a bold statement, but how do they plan to get there? This is where strategic planning is so important, because it provides the map for how the board of directors believe they can achieve these goals. When working through the GM's tasks, we need to take into account where the organization is today and the destination the board is aiming for. Important questions include: what structure or vehicle do we need to get there? What tools do we need to take? These tools will include the business systems, offices, vehicles, IP, etc. Who do we need to take with us on the journey to ensure we get there? This will include the financial controller, operations manager, sales team, and others. What will the road look like? What reserves and backup will we need to take on this journey? The GM will need to be able to answer all of these questions and be able to manage and direct his executive team to ensure he and his team have the resources to get to the destination. So what are the GM's tasks? They will be focused around management, leadership, forecasting, and watching the road ahead for possible deviations, roadblocks, and unforeseen obstacles. The task list shown here is our generic list and available on our website. From the GM's list will also evolve some of the tasks of the GM's direct reports, such as finance, operations, HR, sales and marketing, IT, and then their direct reports. You can now also see the foundation of a functional organizational chart. If required, you can use the RACI.com diagramming module to build a functional organizational chart for your organization. Again, this is a collaborative process, so the GM and the board of directors will need to work together to ensure the GM's tasks are in line with the goals and requirements of the strategic plan. Remember, job satisfaction is about clear roles and responsibilities coupled with a clear vision. RACI is a great way to document these. So now let's look at one of the GM's direct reports. For example, the financial controller. You can use our generic task list as a starting point, obtain the GM's input, and again, through a collaborative process, get the appropriate team around the table. Since finance directly impacts the GM and directors, it is very important to ensure both the GM's and the board's needs for this role are included. The discussion team may include members of the board, the GM, and the financial controller to be sure the R's, A's, C's, and I's are agreed upon and documented. Remember also that the RACI task list associated with a position or role is a great starting point in building a solid foundation for a job description for that particular role, ensuring key accountabilities and responsibilities are in line with the organization's present and future requirements. A financial controller is the person accountable for the control of finances within an organization and will have several direct reports, including debtor collections and creditor payments. So let's look at the next level of management relating to finance and choose the credit department and credit manager. Looking at a scenario in an organization I was working with, the bad debts were increasing dramatically, and the credit manager was being criticized for poor management. Using the RACI process, I asked the credit manager to list his tasks and who was accountable for each of them. Note that in many cases, when you test the answers, you will find that the person listed as the A is often the R, as was the case here, where the credit manager was overridden by a higher authority, such as a director or other department manager. As you can see, the credit manager wasn't able to control bad debt due to the amount of A's in some of his tasks. In this case, I met with the staff listed in these tasks, and we talked through the RACI analysis. It was discovered that directors were overriding the credit manager in relation to some accounts, and several other departments were doing the same. So when it came to assessing the credit manager for the quality of work he was doing and his expertise, it was found that, due to the interference by others in his day-to-day tasks, he wasn't really accountable for the outcomes at all. When questioned further, it was discovered that he was also quite frustrated with the amount of time wasted due to the multiple decision points that were required to complete each task. The next step was to redraft the RACI chart and ensure there was only one A for each task and that the RACI codes reflected the accountability for the role. Now it is possible to assess the credit manager's performance, and it is his head on the chopping block if things go wrong. The outcome was a 50% reduction in bad debts. The credit manager was happier because he had a clear understanding of the tasks he was accountable for and how he would be evaluated at his next review. Some hints. Take it a step at a time and ensure the tasks for each role within the organization reflect the requirements of the organization. I hope this presentation on introducing RACI to an organization was of value to you and your organization, or the organizations you work for. Check out the RACI.com website for more information on RACI. Thank you. We'll